back to the Mob Mentality Show. I'm Chris Lucian and my co-host is Austin Chadwick. And today we have a group here, Alec Arce, Jack Wei, and Joel Plotnik. And they're going to talk to us a little bit about mob programming from a college student's perspective. And so, this was related to what's called a capstone project. So, maybe Alec, you can kind of start us off by describing what the capstone is, and then maybe each of you can chime in on anything additional and we can get going.
Sure. So basically the capstone project, is basically a senior project, is something that goes on for software engineering majors. It's what they have to do for the degree in order to get the degree and also to showcase what we do as software engineers. And basically we take on projects from a lot of different companies. And in our case, we were lucky enough to get Hunter Industries as our sponsor company. And we work with them to complete a project that they have for us or a project that interests us. And throughout our 2 semesters in our last year of software engineering degree, we try and complete this project or get as far as we can and then showcase it at the very end of it. So that's pretty much what the capstone is.
Nice. Maybe Jack, you can give us an overview of what you selected for for that project.
Yeah. What do you mean by what I selected?
Well, you as a group. So you the projects that you all worked on together.
Oh yeah. Well, we primarily just worked on the Hunter Fit app, and I don't remember any other options that we had to choose from because it's been a while, and I think that's all I remember.
Oh, I think it was we were able to, like, he would show us a list of all the projects, and then one of them was Hunter Fit, and me and Jack were like, hey, like, let's get this one so we could be in the same group, and like this company seems really cool. So we pretty much snagged the spot for Hunter Fit mobile application, and then we got this project.
Nice. Joel, do you have any more to say about maybe the project and what you all worked on together, and then we can kind of get into free-flowing discussion after that?
Yeah, so a lot of the choices we had, the choices were pretty different from the different kind of systems that we could work on, and our entire cohort was able to kind of vote on whatever we thought would be the most exciting to work on for us. And it ranged from some systems that were kind of focused on like embedded systems, and we ended up not all like individually. It seems like Jack and Alec kind of knew each other before they went into this project, but I saw that it was a mobile application, and I had never worked on one before. So I was kind of excited to figure out like how to make one, how to make a mobile application. And so that was the main drawing point for me. It was a fitness application, which was cool, but I like that there was potential of actually seeing something on my device and having something to show other people on my mobile device. But yeah.
Yeah, there's something oddly, I guess, tactile about having a mobile app versus a desktop application.
Totally.
You easily show people that have no idea what you do at school, right?
Yeah.
And then, Austin, I think you had a special role in this as well, because you kind of acted as maybe a Sherpa to this group a little bit. So can you maybe describe what your role in this was?
Yeah, it's something that I've done a few times now, where it's just so awesome and incredible to be able to work with such talented, great engineers early on in their journey, and where we kind of come alongside them and write code with them or give them guidance on their project as they go, whether that's product guidance or code guidance or agility guidance, any of the things. And so I'm kind of an insider for this one because we spent much time together and just had a fantastic time. And it was a really great time. And it was very memorable for me.
what did you all like about the mobbing sessions, and what did you struggle with in the mobbing sessions? Maybe starting with Alec and going around the same order, because I think that's really interesting. Like, because and had you heard about mobbing before this, or had you been doing anything like this before?
So we have never, well, we've done like, I guess you could say pair programming, which is kind of similar, but it's like, it wasn't like as, I guess you could say, robust as mobbing. There was like set instructions, what to do. One's a navigator, one's a driver. So we've never really done mobbing before or used that mobster application. And so it was very different. And honestly, the things I did like about it were that it gave us like really good insight on how like we program, or what our strengths are, what we know more about. Like Jack knew a lot about APIs, and he was really good at like using like HTTP packages or stuff like that. And then some of the struggles we had were, well, when we haven't really done this, so it's like we didn't really know how to correctly navigate the driver. So it's like, can you go down one line, one to the right? Yep, no, not that one. Down one more. Nope, not that one. So it's like a struggle at first. Like we didn't know how to communicate well, but like over time, it like we grew to, be a lot better at it. And our mobbing sessions were a lot more productive, and we learned a lot from each other.
Awesome. Jack, do you have anything to add to that?
As Alex said, navigating at first is really difficult, especially when we're working on one screen and we all have like our ideas that we try to like try out. For example, when we're going on like trying to build like a feature, we have like different code snippets that we want to try it out, but we have to like share it via like either we would paste it on Discord or send it on the team's chat. And it was at first it was kind of difficult because we don't know where to post it. Sometimes the team's chat won't like work for one of the members, and that's like the biggest issue that we had when working on a mobbing session.
Nice. Joel, how are you?
Yeah, so to be completely honest, when we first started the mobbing sessions, I wasn't the hugest fan of mobbing because I felt like it was actually just slowing down because I just wanted to like get things started. I wanted to get it going. And when we would like change people so often, I felt myself feeling like, oh, like I just want to finish this up really quick. I recognize the benefits of it as we continued to start to build this system from different places, because I feel like it caught us all up to speed really quick with what each other was doing. And so, sorry, my kids are pretty loud in the background.
It's all good. It's all good. Keep going, man.
But yeah, I feel like when like Alec or Jack was working on something like a separate part of the system that I was working on, when we'd go through it, when I was forced to kind of work on what they were working on, I felt like I understood the system as a whole very well because we were all kind of dabbling in each other's work. So I actually grew to really, by the end of the year working on the system that we did, I really enjoyed it a lot. And I felt like I was learning a lot from just seeing other people's, style of coding. And yeah, so that was my experience with it.
Awesome. And Austin, did you experience any difficulties or cool things based on your experience with this group?
Yeah, I mean, what is mob programming, and why would we ever do such a weird thing? No, it was great. I mean, what was fascinating to me was it just kind of blows me away every time. We're like the mentor, the Sherpa, the guide, but how much I learned from these sessions. I learned so much from these sessions. I mean, like we could share a thing or two, like I was able to introduce unit testing, but I've never done unit testing in Flutter or in Dart or in this mobile environment. And they were teaching me so much Flutter and Dart and Firebase and things that I've never worked with. And so even though it feels like, oh, we're so nice to mentor, I learned so much from it. And I also learned so much about, mobbing as well. So I think if I remember right, y'all, the first couple of mobbing sessions felt more stilted because I think we had a couple professional engineers as guides, and then we had 4 of y'all students. And so, it kind of, what we talk about, Chris, with the forming, storming, norming kind of thing, where we had to find out our groove, right? And so, so for a while it was a pretty large mob, and I think people were feeling pains, and I wasn't the only one. And so then we just started splitting up. And so sometimes it was, one Sherpa with a couple students, and then a couple students off from their own mob. But it really helped me learn, like, let's, experiment and adapt and find out what works for each group. And I think we found things that tended to work for this group, and that was pretty fun. And I guess one question I had for y'all, maybe starting with you, Alec, is how was this experience where we kind of invited you to mob every once in a while, compared to other group work you've done in your career or college or otherwise? Like, what's some compare and contrast with kind of like the mobbing style?
So the mobbing style, I guess, since it was also like supervised, it was, I guess you could say, maybe not strict isn't the word, but it was like, there was a set sort of things that you would do and pay attention to. Whereas like if I were like in a group setting with like, that wasn't mobbing, I was doing another project in a group setting, I feel like it's one person doing most of the work, and there's not as, good communication. Things are different. Whereas when we're mobbing, it's like, okay, 5 minutes, you drive, and this guy navigates him, and it's like strict like that. Then it's like next and next and next and next. So it was very.
I want to be involved. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, you can add on to that.
I thought, just to kind of like piggyback off of what Alec was saying, like when there are those set times that it's just like, okay, it switches now. Like now somebody else has to, kind of take the reins. It's like you're kind of forced to be involved and know what's going on to be able to like contribute. And I feel like it's pretty rewarding too, because at the end of the day, like everyone contributed something, everyone got to spend some time working on it. So I don't know if you want to continue, Alec, or Jack, if you want to say anything.
No. How much do you add?
I wanted to ask, like, what was different when mobbing with other students versus mobbing with professional engineers? So you guys, and did you do both styles? Did you just mob together outside of these sessions, or was it, was it always kind of with others?
I think with professionals, it's more like we pay more attention, and we're more alert to like being, doing things the right way. Whereas if like I'm mobbing with Jack, like this guy fools around too much. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to do it when like it's with your friends or just people in your group, because you just tend to get distracted and mess around too much. Whereas with professionals, it's like, okay, we got to get this done. We got to show them we're here to work.
Did it change when, did you act differently when alone after working with, these other engineers, or did it not really have an effect on that?
Oh, like mobbing outside after the engineers?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it actually, well, as we progressed through mobbing with the professionals, it kind of like, doing it so much and every week, it instills in us like, okay, this is how we got to do it. Like, got to do this better and whatnot. So like we kind of grow to do things right. Although like, obviously it's still not as good as with the professionals. I think we do grow to be, more in tune with keeping things the right way and mobbing the correct way, keeping things strict with the times and switching off correctly and not, getting distracted. So I think over time, we kind of grew into that mindset where in the beginning it was kind of rough.
Yeah. And I'll add one thing with the jokes and getting and having fun kind of thing. And that's something we deal with as well. And it's like with any team, it's good to get to know each other and have fun, but then it's also good to get back on track and focus. So I always find a good balance being a good way to go. And yeah, awesome. And so maybe to follow up a follow-up question with maybe a little more specifics. So how did it typically work for y'all? I mean, I can think back to my college days and how group projects typically went, but what's like an example other project from earlier in your college or wherever, where how did it go in a college project? What was the collaboration patterns? Yeah.
Just to quickly add on to what Alec was saying earlier, it was really hard for us to actually schedule like a set time to mob with like an entire group, like our whole project group. Is much easier if we were to do like pair programming, because we can like schedule an appointment between 2 people rather than 4 people, and we all have like our different like set schedule for classes. But regarding the question about like group projects, I think most of my classes or courses I went through, we did not have too much group project. Even if we did, the work is like delegated and everyone just does their own thing, then we combine it at the end. That's for me at least.
Yeah, I found the software engineering program at Cal State San Marcos to be very team focused. A lot of my, like that, the very last semester, I was at San Marcos. 3 of my classes had team projects going on for the second half of the semester. So I was not only juggling differing schedules with my teammates for this system with Alec and Jack and Nick, who wasn't able to make it, but I also had 2 other classes going on with teams of 4 or more people. And so trying to manage all those schedules together was so complicated. But I wasn't mobbing in any of those other classes. So I liked that we had a time once a week to get together and connect and work on something. I feel like it kept the goal kind of obvious to us. It was like, okay, this is what we need to accomplish this week, and we'd come back and be like, okay, this is what we're able to do. Let's like work on this a little bit more to get it up to speed, and then it'd be like, okay, this is what you need to do the next week. Generally, team stuff was kind of hard for me as a student, just because you're managing, or you're just like trying to juggle so many different schedules, people having different class times and work schedules and families, and it can get really complicated. But I was thankful for like the structure that was there with this project that we were working on.
Nice. And maybe that's a nod to the there's definitely a corollary in the business professional world where everything in the system can make it hard for people to collaborate, right?
Yeah.
If like I know some people's whose work life is blocked with schedule meetings throughout the whole day of status meetings and stuff like that. So it's going to make it hard to, one, be productive yourself, and also to collaborate with others. And so so that's something that came to mind as a corollary. Cool. Maybe one other question I had for y'all that we can maybe go around on was, so you're at the one end of the spectrum as far as your degree, right? Would you have any advice for other college students who maybe are starting their journey in the tech space? How about you, Alec?
Oh man, definitely get your work done early. Especially if you're software engineering, computer science. I mean, like, I felt like that was so obvious. Like, obviously you need but until you're in like software engineering, computer science, it hits you. Like, I would be doing projects the day before until midnight, and I'd be like, I remember in my degree, I would be gathering people from my class, and we'd all 5 be in a Discord call because we all didn't do this project. And it's like, we just didn't get things done quick enough. We didn't ask for help, and we didn't go to office hours. And I think one of the most useful things is going to office hours, because professors are really helpful. And in class, they might seem strict. In class, they might seem mean. Some people don't like them. But in office hours, I feel like they're a totally different person and they really want you to pass and succeed. So I think really take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, you definitely, I feel like if you want to do well, you can't procrastinate. Like you got to just like get on stuff early, because you never know, like until you start working on something, like where you might get hung up. And sometimes that's what's so interesting about like computer science or software engineering. I mean, it's kind of the same with math, I suppose, but like it's not like, oh, this will, like reading this chapter was probably going to take about this much time. Like it's really hard to estimate how long something is going to take. So you kind of just have to start on things right away, so that you can, if something's going to take you a really long time, you can kind of be prepared for that. And yeah, like Alec was saying too, I feel like if professors see you come into office hours and taking an initiative, and they see that you are like excited about it, I feel like they're excited to help. And yeah, so yeah, I agree with everything Alex said.
Yeah, the biggest tip I can give you is get your sleep in. I think that's the thing that changed the most about my college time, is I try to get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep every night. And that helped a lot, especially during like Zoom University, where I was staring at my computer all day. Getting my sleep really helped me focus during those computer lectures.
Nice. Yeah, and you mentioned a lot about schedule and things like that, and lining up. And you also said that you were pairing. So did your pairing style change after doing strict mobbing? Or did you did anything about the way you do work change over the course of your of this on your own?
So after the whole mobbing thing, I think that one thing that stuck with me was the way we research things online. Because I know when we were mobbing, watching other people do tasks, like sometimes we'd be like, hey, maybe like look this up or see this, and like everyone in our group would look things up differently or research things in their own way. So like I know Googling is just Googling, but there's better ways to Google, better resources to look at. And so, watching Jack or Nick or Joel research things online differently and finding more granular things about certain topics really helped me when I need to Google for like work or other project after that. So that's what stuck with me after the whole mobbing.
For me, it was how to like communicate what like you really want to say. Because for mobbing, when we had our sessions, well, the most important part I felt like was the communication between the navigators and the driver. If I was unable to express like clearly what I wanted, like what I think the next step should be, it really makes it confusing and the driver will feel like lost, because I was like in the scenario where I was a driver and I was unable to comprehend what someone was telling me, and it feels really stressful when you're like lost and not know what to do. So that's what I learned the most from mobbing.
Cool. Right on. Yeah. And so yeah, and when you all were giving your advice to early college students, it reminded me of some of my college experiences. And yes, I definitely second get started early and integrate early. I remember one project where we're like, oh, it sounds good to us that we'll integrate the night before it's due. So we all work solo, and then the night before it's due, I was going to be the integrator. So everyone sent me the code, and only I think one person half did their work and the other person did like 1/5 of what they were supposed to do. So I was up all night integrating it and then presenting it the next day. So whether, I think mobbing is a great way to integrate, thinking and ways to work, pairing. But even if you don't do that, just to integrate early and often, I think is really good. And I think one thing that I saw y'all do that was pretty fantastic to watch was, I don't know if you knew it or not, but you were living out pretty well the lean and agile principles of delivering valuable things frequently for feedback. And so I think it alleviates a lot of pressure if you have something valuable working early on, right? And so I think the app ended with, tons of features on many different pages. But early on, I remember there being like, oh, there's an app and you can do these one or two things. And that's really cool. And so I thought that was a fantastic way to mitigate risk, basically. And I thought you all did a great job of it. I learned a ton from y'all, and I'm just really thankful for the experience. And it's good memories for me. Before we close the show, is there anything else y'all like to share or plug before we close it out?
I don't have any plugs, but I just want to say I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have been able to work alongside you, Austin, and just to be a part of that project. I learned a ton, and I'm really excited to be able to have something to show now coming out of college, and having even worked with a company now, even already having some of that experience is really cool. But yeah, so just want to say thanks, and yeah, Alec and Jack.
Hey, Joel, are we allowed to plug personal brands?
Yes.
Okay, just a quick plug for Alec. He has a sick keyboard website. He makes you his personal mechanical keyboard that sounds amazing, looks
That's cool.
amazing, and yeah.
What is it?
It's a mechanical keyboard.
It's blurry here. Let me take out the blur. But wow, Jack. Okay. I'll go off of that. So me and my brother, we make mechanical keyboards, and so this one actually took me 11 months. I ordered this 11 months ago, and it just came in. I built it, and so we do stuff for clients. Really, it's a niche thing, and I build keyboard cables for them and stuff like that. So I mean, if I'm at my desk all day and I'm programming and I'm working here remote, it's nice to have a decent keyboard as well. There's a lot of things you can do and customize. So it's a side hobby thing. You could follow my brother on YouTube. His name is Alec Arce, Anzel space ARCE, and then he kind of comes to me for the cables. But yeah, we work together on this, and it's a fun little hobby we do, and help people out with keyboard and stuff. So thank you guys. Thank you, Jack.
Look, that's what the keyboard he built for me.
Awesome.
Nice. I'll have to pass that along. I know in the people me and Chris work with, there's several enthusiasts on keyboards. So
oh, really?
Yeah. Chris is one of them.
He's a gamer.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And that's one cool thing. I'm glad you brought something like that, Jack. I mean, one thing that I reflect on is being able to work with y'all and mob with y'all. We got to learn some technical things and learn from each other in that way, but we also got to get to know each other more on a personal level, So I went to Joel's in a band, so I went to his concert, that was a ton of fun. And then Alec made a recommendation for a place to go play video games. I took my kids there. And then with Jack, I got to hear about his passion for DevOps and things like that. So it's just really cool. So so we'll round out the show now. So so audience, on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, more, we'd love to see your comments. What's your opinions about mob programming in a student's perspective? What have you seen work well? What doesn't work well in a college setting for students? What advice do you have for people starting out their college journey? So we'd love to hear from you. And also share this episode if you feel like it would apply to, either a student or someone who works with students, or just someone who might find lots of corollaries for their professional work in software development. Please like and subscribe, and mob on, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.